Hello everyone, I'm Lily, I'm the Furniture Doctor, and today we are back with a new project. Now this one's kind of exciting because I don't remember the last time that I've worked on a pair of matching nightstands. Like years maybe? It's just so hard to find a set, and a cute set at that. These I've had for a while. I actually moved these from Texas to New Mexico with me. If they look familiar, it's because they are familiar. I did the matching dresser last summer, I think, and I'll tag the video. The dresser was just, it was tough. It was a tough project. Matching the veneer or applying the veneer, trying to match the veneer to the OG veneer on the side with stain, then painting it and I had to repair a little piece right here, which was really challenging. And so after all of like the cost of materials, because veneer is expensive, the labor, the time that I put into it, for it to not even turn out that good, I was very discouraged, which is why I've kind of just put these off. The entire set, so both of these plus the little dresser, I think I paid $150 for. These are also incredibly neglected, just like the little dresser was. It does not have feet on the bottom nightstand, but it does have matching drawer pulls. So we have all of those, which is a plus. We have that going for us. It is made by a little company in Wisconsin, I believe. I'll have to put a screenshot of the company, and it was really cool. I think it's called Lullaby Furniture, made in Stevens Point, Wisconsin, which is really cool. They are very cute nightstands. They are very, very small. I believe this is maybe 18 inches tall, but yeah, they are pretty much falling apart. So I think we're gonna do something out of the box or out of character for me. Not so much out of the box, but definitely out of character for me. We might paint. I know, paint. But hear me out. So here are both of the pieces. And as you can see on this one, the veneer is just peeling right off. And even this underlayer right here as well. Same thing right here and here. Like it is all lifting, which is kind of sad. I'm not sure what that says. Business, invitation. I'm not sure that this has actually anything to do with the nightstands, but cool little thing stuck to the back. Here's the top of one of the nightstands. Again, it doesn't look too horrible, but then you get here and you see all of that cracking and lifting. Here is the top of the second one. This one is definitely in a little bit better shape. Some big gouges, that wouldn't be too difficult to deal with, but this side is also not too bad. But then look at this finish, just flaking right off. That's crazy, right? There's also some lifting here as well. Now, do you kind of understand what I'm saying when we might need to paint? I just don't think it's gonna be worth the time, the labor, just all of it to re-veneer. And they're children's nightstands, so I think they would be really cute, you know, painted. And another option as well is they could probably be turned into floating nightstands. Like if I remove the legs and then you attach these to the wall, that could be really cool. Okay, are you guys ready for this? I'm about to peel it off. Here we go. Oh my gosh. Now the reason I'm not just gonna paint right over this is because if I paint, and then an edge, one of these edges gets caught on something, it's still gonna lift up. It's probably better that I just remove it all now and before I paint to prevent that from happening. See, now this might all be tough to come off. Oh, just kidding. I'm having a little bit of difficulty getting this veneer off, these little remaining pieces. So I have my little mini iron right here, and I'm gonna put it right over the veneer. Whoops, that's on a little too high, because you can see it melting off the finish. And my goal here is to heat up the veneer, like the glue underneath, so then it'll kind of peel off a little bit easier. So let's see if this works. Might be better off with a heat gun, but who knows where that is right now. Still not working. So we're just gonna come back to this part. What I think I'm gonna have to do is take like 60 grit and just blast this and any other parts of the nightstands that I can't get off. But we're gonna keep on peeling off the veneer here is some remnants so far. Taking out these drawers for a second. Sewing patterns. This looks like a bra cup, that's gross. 2 more, also gross. I guess Jenna drew this of her daddy in December 2003. I removed the drawer so that I can grab this part right here and peel that off. It's really crazy how this stuff is just peeling right off. Wow, okay, so got most of that off. I have a feeling this one is going to be satisfying. Oh, it's like the whole sheet of veneer just came off. That's crazy. All right, let's see how this one goes. Here she is, top removed. So everything came off pretty easily. I'll obviously still sand this, but yeah, top came off very easily. I'm not sure if the next one will come off as easy. Still need to finish this side and the other side. So I was actually just about to move this nightstand over and start on the next one. And then I noticed like that big sheet of veneer I just took off the top. I saw a little corner lifting. So I also have to take off this under layer. I don't know what this layer is called, but yeah, I need to take this off as well because it's peeling. So adding another step to the mix. I'm afraid the next one is gonna be hard, but you know what? Maybe the next one I don't even need to take this off because the top looks pretty okay, but I guess we'll see once I finish this and get to that. Still need to clean this as well, but I figured I skipped cleaning this time, or I didn't clean first because I figured it's gonna get all dusty and nasty anyway while I'm doing this, that I'll just wait. So yeah, didn't clean it yet. This is kind of a pain. I almost need a chisel. Some of it comes off really well, and when you can get off one of those big, satisfying chunks, that's always nice. Maybe this one will be a good one. All right, let's move this one for the time being and get started on the other one. They're a lot lighter with the drawers out. I should have done that to begin with. So here's the look at the next one. This one is definitely in a little bit better of condition. Still have that splitting right there, lifting here. So we'll get started on this one. So as you probably just saw, I used a chisel and my hammer, and this worked really well for getting off the really hard spots of veneer. This is what I'm gonna have to do on the other one as well. It's kind of a painstaking process, but it works really well. So I'm gonna have to keep doing that on the top of the other one and the side too, where I tried to iron, and see if I can get that off. I have a feeling I'm gonna have to do the same thing to this side. We'll see. I feel like half this video is gonna be me just trying to get the veneer off, which it's its own time-consuming process. So, I mean, I think this is a good example of when, like, applying veneer or like what am I trying to say? Like restoring something versus painting it. Like they're two different processes. There's one that is not easier than the other. I think I always hear people say like, oh, it's so easy to paint, like just restore it instead. It's really not easy to paint. I mean, this is kind of an annoying process. And granted, you don't have to do this for every piece that you want to paint. I'm only doing this because I know when I do paint this, the veneer is going to come up anyway. Like paint isn't going to seal it back down. So this is just going to kind of prolong the life of this piece for the next owner. And yeah, so you're not peeling off the veneer on every piece that you're going to paint, but for this one I am. So it is still a labor intensive project, even though I am going to paint. So I've officially chiseled everything off. Now I'm going to take 80 grit and sand this and see if I can get it a little bit more smooth. There are a bit of chunks, my bad, from chiseling. So I'm gonna have to Bondo this piece, which I knew I was gonna have to do to begin with anyway, but let's sand it with some 80 grit and see if we can just smooth this out. And I need to do that to all of the sides to both nightstands. It has to get sanded anyway, so let's do that. So I flipped the piece onto its side and we are going to glue these little gaps. This is the glue that I'm using, Tight Bond. I'm just kind of like really globbing it in there because I'm hoping that the gravity will kind of push the glue in a little bit more into these cracks before I glue. Use my finger to kind of help it go in a little bit more. Now my big old wood clamps, hoping these are big enough. They should be. Okay, cool. I'm gonna clamp this tight on this end. Looking good. And then we'll do the top right here. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of leave the wood glue as is because I'm gonna have to sand it off anyway. So if it's a little excess, it's okay. But looking pretty good. So there we have this one. So we'll let this wood glue kind of dry, cure, and then move to the next step. I have the top on the other one that I'm gonna start sanding now just to get some of this rough edges off. So I sanded most of the roughness away. This one is still, I added a little bit more glue, so I have the clamps on that one. But you can see here where I chipped away the veneer, like it revealed this massive knot. And then we also have some gapping here. There's just some chunks missing here, and a gouge right here. So we are going to use, which I have literally not touched in years, good old Bondo wood filler. This stuff is so strong, both the smell and the strength. It's 2 parts, so we'll mix it up. I have my little Bondo spreaders. This stuff hardens really fast, so you kind of have to work quick. So I'll probably do a few batches because I have to do this nightstand and then this one right here, because this one has a few gouges on the top. So let's get mixing. So this wood filler comes in 2 parts. Whoops, like I said, there goes the cap. This is the activator, the cream hardener, and then in here is the actual putty. So it smells so bad, which is why I have my mask on. This is what it looks like inside. We're going to mix this around a little bit. Oops, that was kind of a lot. Oh well, I guess we have a lot of putty to cover anyway, or spots. And then take the hardener. Don't need too much. Like that. Then we mix. You'll be able to tell pretty quickly if you need more hardener or less hardener, but you want to mix very, very thoroughly so that it all hardens and cures evenly. You want to make sure all of that blue gets mixed in. I just take a whole glob, use that, and I like to overfill because we're going to have to sand after anyway. I do like to wipe away any excess because then it's just unnecessary sanding. And now we have this side, which needs a lot of Bondo, and see, this stuff is already hardening. Ah! Oh my gosh, don't tell me I'm gonna have to make, I'm telling you, this stuff works so stinking, yeah. I probably added too much hardener, that's why it cured so fast. So we're gonna have to make another batch. So I wasn't kidding, this stuff works fast. All right, now we just gotta let this cure before we can sand. Now while the Bondo dries, we have it over there curing, I'm gonna get started on these drawers. I'm gonna take the knobs off, but before I do that, there is one drawer that seems to be a little broken. So what we're gonna do is prop it up on its side like this. Gonna get my wood glue, glob some of it in there, then fit these dovetails back together like this, and then I need to get a wood clamp and clamp this back together. So that seems all aligned. I'm gonna put a little bit more glue just for some extra support, and we'll let this drawer dry and do this one last. And just a quick before shot before I start sanding. Look at this finish. That's crazy. I absolutely love these little hardwares. These kind of remind me of Paul McCobb golf tee handles, I think is what they're called. Drawer pulls. They're kind of remind me of that. All right, let's start sanding. Now these are all kind of have like this shingle looking, I don't even know what you would call this, but it's not just one flat surface. So it shouldn't be too bad because the finish is already coming off. So the nightstand that I glued and have left to dry is pretty dry. So I'm gonna sand this off, try to get some of this glue off, any of this excess, and then we will move on to Bondoing all of the lumps and chips missing on this nightstand. There's a ton on the top, but we'll sand the side first. Mixing up some more Bondo now for this top, because hiding underneath here are lots of chunks missing, which is my bad. This top has cured, so I'm going to start sanding 100 grit and smooth out all of these Bondo patches. So there's still quite a few little spots, like right here. If you can see that, there's one right there. So I need to make sure that this whole surface looks, or it not looks, but feels and is completely like flawless of any nicks, like gaps in the grain or anything like that, because we want a flawless paint application. So I'm going to use a different type of Bondo that is made for smaller little things like that, and we'll put that on now. This is the Bondo I was talking about. So it's like more of a, for dings, I guess. Also super stinky, like regular Bondo, but it's only one part. There's no two part to it. It's also a lot more easier to work with than regular Bondo, like, because you're not working against a super crazy fast cure time, but then also it's only 4 little spots, like what I'm doing here. So now I have the other nightstand. This one had a ton of Bondo on it. I just sanded it down. I had to use 60 grit, 80 grit, and then 100 grit because there was so much Bondo on here and my sanding pads kept gumming up. I thought I had one over here where I could show you what it looked like because, oh, here's one. Here's what 60 grit did to my sanding pads. So this can be due sometimes with Bondo if you're not using enough of the activator and it's not hardening enough and it can kind of act all gummy. So that could be a reason, but I'm pretty sure I added a lot of hardener to it. So there's still a few little dings in here, which I'll show you, and I'm going to take care of those like I did with the other one with the Bondo glazing spot putty. And then finally, we should be able to start painting. So here are a few of those little spots, like right there is uneven, maybe like right there. And then this is what the side is looking like. So we still have a little bit to go, like these right here. So we'll do that now. So this nightstand is all covered with the spot putty. Lots of spots. Now this one right here is dry, so we're gonna sand this one now. Going in with 120 grit. So there's still a few little spots I'm seeing now, so I'm going to re-spot putty those and then do this all over again, so sand again. So the Bondo is on, the Bondo is sanded, and now I'm going to tell you something crazy. I know I already dropped the bombshell that I'm painting these nightstands in the beginning of this video, but I don't know if I shared that I'm going to be using milk paint. In all of my years of flipping furniture, I've never used milk paint, which is crazy. So this one that I'm going to use is by RMPco Finishes, which used to be Real Milk Paint Company Finishes. So they just like rebranded. And you've probably seen me use their oxalic acid or wood bleach a bajillion times. I use their tung oil, their half and half, their dark oil. I use their clear furniture wax, their white furniture wax. Love their stuff, but I've never tried their signature product of actual milk paint. So this is exciting, nerve-wracking, no idea what to expect. And when you open this, there's a baggie inside. So it's not like liquid paint, like a typical paint. And look at that. And there's a little marble inside as well to help mix it up. This color is Stoneware, which is like a white gray. And I'm going to use this on the drawers because that was kind of the original color of the drawer. So we're just trying to stay a little bit true to what it was. So yeah, I'm very excited to use this. And as I'm reading the back, it says that the first ingredient is casein, which is milk protein. So, I mean, duh, that's why it's called milk paint, but like it just finally clicked for me. That's why it's called that. So we are going to mix this up. So it says recommended mixture is 1 part water to 1 part powder. This container has 2.5 cups. So mix the desired amount of powder and add an equal amount of water into the can. And you want to add water first, then the powder, and you can use tap water, but for best results, use warm distilled water. Place the marble in the can, securely place the lid on the can, and shake for 3 to 5 minutes. And then let paint rest for 10 to 20 minutes. So once you mix everything up, it has a 14-day use time, but this powder, so if you don't use all of it, is good for 5 to 10 years. It has a shelf life of 5 to 10 years. So that's awesome. I'm not going to mix all of it because I don't want to do that. So probably maybe just half, and then we can always make more. I'd rather make less and then have some left over. I have my paintbrush here. We're using a zebra paintbrush. I love these. They're super nice. And yeah, I'm a little bit nerve-wracked per usual about how this is gonna go, but it should be good. I already got my water jug somewhere in here. And yeah, let's start mixing. So for my water, I'm going to pour it. I'm gonna use this as my little measuring cup and I'm going to fill this right there. We'll do one of those. And then for our powder, we'll do the same thing since it's a 1-to-1 ratio. Now my marble is already in there and I just shake it up. Make sure the lid is on tight. Okay, now let's open. All right, it looks pretty good. So we let it sit for 10 minutes, 10 to 20 minutes, and then we can use it. Now while that paint sits, we are going to just quickly degrease the drawers and just remove any dust. And as you can see, that was needed. We got 3 more drawers. All right, do the 2 more drawers, let them dry, and then we'll start painting. All right, everything is mixed up. I let it sit for a little bit. Now it's time to paint. It's going on very silky. Also, this brush is amazing. First coat is on, and I am very pleasantly surprised. It's definitely lighter than a traditional paint. Like, I don't know how to describe it, like fluffier, but still is pigmented. And it doesn't have, I wish you could smell things through the phone because, well, actually there's really nothing to smell. It's very, like no odor, which is incredible because, you know, regular paints have lots of VOCs. All right, we'll let this one dry. We got 2 more to go. Okay, I just painted the first coat on all of the drawers. The container says 30 to 60 minutes between each coat. So I am going to allow that to dry and then we'll do the second coat. Now getting ready for coat number 2. It's been a little over maybe an hour since the first coat. So I'm just giving this a little remix. So I think the 2 coats is good. I don't need any more than that, but I do have quite a lot left and I'm not one for letting things go to waste. So I'm just gonna apply a 3rd coat because I have it and why not? And I also plan on for the doing the nightstands, I think I'm gonna do those in like a blue color, like a dark blue. So I won't be using this paint again. So I might as well use as much as I can now because it does have that limited shelf life. And it does have this tangy like smell to it, like a good smell, like almost citrus. And so I went back and read the label and there is lime in here, which is cool. And I don't have any issues with streaks either, like paintbrush marks. So that's been nice because I feel like traditional paint, you know, like Behr, Sherwin-Williams, like that kind of paint you get at a hardware store. I have a lot of issues with streaking and paint marks, paintbrush marks. So none of that here. So it's the next day. And today is the day that we are going to paint the actual nightstands themselves, like the body. Yesterday I did the drawers. Before I do that, I need to install the new legs because I don't want to be flipping this on its back when it's painted nicely already. So I'm gonna do that now. I've had these legs for weeks and I'm just now realizing the hardware that comes with them. So this hardware, these are Brad tree nuts. So to install these, you basically need to drill into the wood. So then you can screw in the furniture legs and it will sit flush. That's cool and all. These are very secure, like these are great, very professional looking. However, I've just never done that before. It does come with an option to use these, which if I put these on here, then you see like the metal part. You'll just kind of see that gap. If this was a nightstand that kind of had like a decorative overhang, then that wouldn't be an issue, but it doesn't, so that just wouldn't look nice. So what I need to do now is take a brad drill bit, which is basically a wood drill bit, the ones with like the pointy things on the top, find exactly where they need to go, and they all have to be the same, so on both nightstands, and then the fronts have to be even, obviously the backs have to be even. I have to drill directly straight down, because if it's not, then the legs will be wonky, and then also the right depth and the right width so that these go in correctly. I think I can also, if I just drill the hole, then put these in, but put them in like as if, so it would get screwed in this way, like that. So this would go in the hole, and then I can screw into these little three, so I don't have to like deal with making sure I get this in correctly. So that's a backup plan. So I guess it does come with two options. But yeah, so I'm gonna do some measuring and figure out where these legs need to go and what would be the best place to drill so that everything is secure, sturdy, and even, and then we'll start drilling. So I've decided I'm going to do the back first before I start messing with the front. But before I do that, I have my drill bit, and I have a piece of painter's tape. And what I'm going to do is mark the depth of how deep I want this to go. So I know with here, I guess I could do it like that. I don't even have to look at the front. Okay, so this would be the depth that we want it to go, because that is how deep this piece of hardware goes. So not much at all. Okay, so now I'm going to drill right where my little X is, and I'm hoping that this just goes straight down. Okay. Now, obviously, this was way too small of a hole, and I kind of knew that was going to happen, but I'd rather it go smaller than too big, because you can't really go back. Honestly, I think this would be the right depth. So try the painter's tape trick again with a bigger drill bit. Okay, I think it's just right. And now what I need to do is hammer this in really hard. This looks nice. Okay, wow, it went in good. Oh, okay. So I did something wrong. Just gotta figure out what I did wrong. I think I maybe have to drill a little bit more. So I did some research and I drilled a little bit deeper. It does say you can use some wood glue and see if that helps. Worst case, we still have these ones that we can use, but I want to try this because I feel like it just looks better. I don't know how wood glue would help us because this is metal, but that's what the internet says. So we're gonna try it and let's hammer. Okay, those seem way more secure. So maybe we'll just let this dry for a little bit and see how it does, and then move on to the next one. So let's hope this one goes off. So both of these now are installed, but not gonna lie, I'm a little scared about doing now the ones in the front, because obviously those ones are gonna be the ones that you see the most. So we'll have to measure extra careful for all this. So here is now the moment of truth to see how these legs actually look. Well, it's not wobbly, we have that going for us. I'd say they look pretty even. I am pretty proud of myself for figuring this out. That is a new skill, a new thing I've not done before. It was kind of intimidating, and for a second I almost ordered just like brand new legs on Amazon, which would delay this project even further. But I decided, no, I'm just gonna go for it, and I'm glad I did, because that's a new skill. So time to do the other nightstand. So this is the other nightstand, and these are the legs that I was talking about, how they are like have like kind of these brackets. And so you just screw it in there. There's no drilling needed. I would be able to reuse these if the other one had them, but it doesn't, so it's just better to replace everything. So now I'm going to unscrew these, and then we'll reinstall the new legs like we did on the last one. And I will always save hardware like this, because if I have a dresser or something that needs something like this in the future, this can be very useful. And all of these screws are different, which is interesting because it almost makes it feel like these were an addition or something happened. Not sure. Got all these off. Now it's time to measure and put the new feet on. Now, for painting the nightstands, we're going with this color, navy blue by Real Milk Paint. Same thing as we did with the other one. It is a powder. Look how rich that blue looks. So navy blue, and comes with a little marble. So we are going to do 1 cup of water, and then I actually did 2 things of water, and now we will do 2 cups of powder. And this stuff looks so pigmented. And now we shake. The marble's already in here. We shake or stir for 3 to 5 minutes, and then let sit for 20 to 30 minutes before it's ready for use. So I'll see you guys when it's ready. So I'm about to paint. I'm just taking the legs off so there's no unnecessary paint getting on them, because I'm not sure if I'm gonna paint those yet or not. Now, here we have our paint. Look how pigmented, love it. It is sat for a little bit over 30 minutes. Look at that. Using the same brush as yesterday. It says to use a brush. I would really love to use a roller, but I'm just gonna follow instructions. I'm honestly such a bad painter, which I know I mention in like every video that requires any sort of painting. Okay, first coat is on. I think this is definitely gonna be a trust the process type of piece. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do, is trust the process. So the first coat is on, and you can see how it's drying. Like, it lightens when it dries. And I guess I didn't really expect that. It's really pretty though. You could see how here you'll see some of the dry spots, and what's darker is still wet. It's really pretty. And here is the other side. So this I just touched up a little bit, but it's really pretty. My painting is really sloppy, so I think I'm gonna let this dry. I'm gonna sand super lightly with very fine grit and then do the second coat. I still need to do the other nightstand, so we're gonna start that one now and let this other one dry. So it has been a minute since I have worked on these, like a week or so. And it's because if you saw in the last clip, I was applying the furniture wax. And as I was doing that, I noticed that some of the paint was rubbing right off. And I wanted to cry because I had been working on these nightstands forever now. And I put so much work into making sure that I did everything right, that the paint was super smooth and ready for top coat, and that everything looked flawless. And so to see it just rub right off, like, crushed my soul. So I reached out to the makers of the milk paint, Real Milk Paint Company, or RMPco. And one of the owners, Shane, got back to me immediately, and I went through with him like step by step everything that I did, and he thinks it's either 1 due to the Bondo or 2 due to the foam on the when you mix up the paint. And I don't think it's Bondo because the spots where it started to rub off, there was no Bondo. I do think it was the foam though. So the way he explained it, he said it was kind of like, it looks like you're applying paint, but you're not. Like you're not applying like the body of the paint when you're like accidentally apply the foam. So his suggestion was to take off the wax with mineral spirits, which I already did. And I only did a little bit because I kind of quit while I was ahead. I was like, I don't want to just mess up everything. I just want to reach out to them, see if I can fix this before I just rub off the paint on both nightstands. So what he suggested was and he sent this to me, it's their Ultra Bond. So this goes 1 part Ultra Bond to 4 parts liquid real milk paint. So what I'm gonna do now is I took off the wax, the top coat that I had put on, and I'm going to mix more of the milk paint, and then I'm gonna add a little bit of this. And so I'm applying now 3rd coat. I think this would be the 3rd coat, or maybe 4th coat, I'm not sure. And this should allow everything to adhere properly. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. I even brought out my handy dandy, it's like a mixer, electric mixer. Never have used it before, so the first time I'm gonna use it, it's gonna be on milk paint. So yeah, so let's mix this together and see if it helps. So applying 1 part water to 1 part paint, and then we are going to mix. Wish I just did this in the first place, so much easier. Everything's mixed. Now I'm taking the Ultra Bond that they sent me, and so it's a 1:4 ratio, so putting that in, and we will mix again. And I really have to say, this, using an electric mixer or a blender or whatever, is the way to go for this stuff, because I have no foam compared to what I had when I was shaking it in the can that it came with. So use an electric mixer. I feel like I already solved. If I had just done that to begin with, I would have avoided this problem. Okay, it is the next day. Everything dried really nicely. I lightly sanded just to remove any of my paint marks. That's why it kind of looks uneven. What we're gonna do now is apply my clear furniture wax, also by Real Milk Paint. I love this stuff, as you can tell. Really hoping that the Ultra Bond fixed everything with this last coat of paint that I just put on. So the moment of truth. This stuff is so satisfying to put on. Work like a charm. Would you look at that? All right, so we are gonna let this kind of sit for a little bit for 10 to 15 minutes, and then we'll buff. Shane, the owner, one of the owners of Real Milk Paint, sent over these when he sent over the Ultra Bond to help fix. So these will help kind of buff and burnish the wax, but we're gonna give it a little bit and then we'll do that. But I still have to do all the sides and the drawers. We forgot about the drawers. So we'll do the body of the nightstand, then the drawers. Okay, now sealing drawer number 1. Feels like an eternity since I painted these drawers. Kind of has been. So now I'm taking this burnishing pad, and I don't really know how to burnish, but I'm assuming just kind of like buffing the wax in. So that is exactly what I'm doing. And I have had no issue on the paint lifting. So that Ultra Bond did exactly what it needed to do and completely saved this project, so I'm very happy. Next thing we're gonna do is reinstall the hardware, which I am going to leave patinaed because it's solid brass. Reinstalling the little legs, which I didn't paint, as a reminder. Well, you don't need a reminder, you can see they're not painted. I think they will look good not painted. I think if I were to have painted them navy or white, it would just, I don't know. I can always go back and paint them, but still leave a little bit of wood. So after quite some time and a few hiccups along the way, the transformation is complete. As a reminder, this is where we started. These nightstands were falling apart from water damage. The veneer was unsalvageable and one nightstand was missing legs, but I can finally say I'm done and I'm ready to show you the after. Here it is. These nightstands went from looking like they belong in the trash to looking like they belong in a coastal theme kids room. I'm so happy that I kept the legs wood because I feel like it adds to the coastal vibe. Using milk paint was completely out of my comfort zone and I learned a lot along the way, but after all of it, I can officially say I would use it again, especially with using the Ultra Bond from RMPco. Definitely add that to cart if you're gonna use milk paint. And the wax top coat always works like a charm. And I'm just realizing this now, but I am so happy that I went with these products because they are all natural, low VOC or no VOC, some of them, and environmentally friendly. So that's such an added benefit because these are probably gonna go in a kid's room. So why expose our kids to unnecessary chemicals if we don't have to? So this paint was the perfect choice for this option or for this project. So what do you guys think? Now that you've seen them, you've gotten the close-up, what do you think? I know it is completely not what I'm used to doing, not what you're used to seeing, but it was really my only option because what was I gonna do, you know, like put new veneer on? Do you know how expensive that is? It just didn't make sense and I just think they're perfect. Like I think they came out to be the way that they're meant to be. I seriously think they're perfect for a coastal room, like a sailor type, or even like one of those like Ralph Lauren style, you know, what's trending on TikTok, like nursery theme. I love them. I think they're super cute. I'm very happy with how they turned out. I love the legs. I think this project was a great example of that. Sometimes, like people say that painting is so much easier than, you know, refinishing. And I think this video proves that that is not always true. The amount of time that I put into chiseling and the Bondo, I did like 5 rounds of Bondo on these guys. The painting and then installing the legs, which I guess doesn't really, you could do that with painting or if you're restoring. But moral of the story, or what I'm trying to say, is it's not always easier to paint. And I don't think people should just write off that if somebody painted, they took, you know, the shortcut, because that is definitely not true. I put so much into these. I'm really happy with how they came out. And yeah, I learned a lot. I added a new tool to my toolbox. I made a great connection with Shane from Real Milk Paint. Thank you for helping me, Shane, if you're watching this. Great customer service. Can't recommend their products enough. Yeah. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you have any questions about the process. Let me know if you've tried milk paint before. And also let me know what you think I should price these for, because I'm stumped. I know I'm not gonna make back what I put into these in terms of time. Like if I was pricing myself, like paying myself per hour, it worked. I lost a lot of money if that's how we're gonna price things. But, so let me know what you think. And thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hype anything and everything that YouTube allows you to do, because that allows me to keep creating free content. I hope you enjoyed. And if you're interested in these coastal themed nightstands and you're in New Mexico, send me a DM because maybe you wanna buy them. Or maybe I'll put them in my son's room because they're so cute. Okay, bye guys.